take a breath and follow the bell inward.
Pray with me now as we honor the divinity in each one of us present. In Taizé, we're here to remember whose and who we are, individualized expressions of the One. Peace, intelligence, power, sustenance, and process. We are made in that image and likeness of God. We let that resonate within as we breathe. We give thanks for this beautiful day in Reading. We give thanks for this beautiful space in which to meet and share and learn. We give thanks for each one of us who give our time and talent. We give thanks knowing that each of us will hear exactly what we need to know as we listen to Reverend Diana's words about getting out of the mind. I know this prayer has already done its work, and I give thanks. I call it done, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Chris, for that beautiful opening. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy solstice a couple days ago. If you're new with us here online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson, and I'm the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community, and we teach universal principles and practical spirituality. We open our doors and welcome, trusting that you'll be led to the guidance and wisdom of your own mystic heart. So we begin our Taizé this morning with musical prayer.
Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you to heaven's door. Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you to heaven's door. To guide you to heaven's door. To guide you. one step at a time, one step at a time. That's where peace comes in, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. That's where peace comes in, one step at a time, one breath at a time, one breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, one breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, one breath at a time.
Taking a nice deep breath. Grounding more deeply into our center, we feel gratitude for the many, many gifts of this day. And as we take another long, slow, deep breath, imagining that breath filling the heart, expanding the heart. And as you exhale, releasing love out into the world. A couple of cycles of breath, breathing in love, breathing out and sharing love. And then breathing in peace, allowing the breath to fill you with a deep sense of peace. And then sharing that peace with all that is. Abiding in the presence of the One. Remember with me now that all of creation is an expression of spirit. The body of God, if you will. Each of us a unique thread in this beautiful tapestry of life. Each one a strand of consciousness, weaving in and out of one another to reveal the splendor of our unity. This morning we connect in consciousness with each other as human family, with our global community, with our planet, and all of the many stars and planets and galaxies that surround us. With our plant and animal siblings, every one a unique expression of divinity. With our Mother Earth that sustains us, with her waters, her mountains, her deserts. All expressions of infinite nature of spirit. Each absolutely necessary to the whole. And as we acknowledge that we are all of one essence and one substance, of one source, we automatically grow in compassion because we sense our connection. We grow in empathy and understanding. Firmly grounded in this awareness, we recognize that all that we offer into the world through our thoughts and our words and our actions affect the whole And so this morning, with our hearts and minds consciously centered in spirit, our collective prayer and meditation are leaving an imprint of presence, of peace on human evolution and on the world for all time. This month our contemplations are centered in new beginnings, and this morning's theme is going out of my head. Early on, as we begin to consciously engage with the spiritual journey, we call life, we might be led to read, to listen to teachers, to study, as our primary way of exposing ourselves to new ideas and principles and practices. We might learn a new vocabulary, begin to use familiar words in new ways. Although we may add meditation, prayer, and other practices to the mix, we tend to be beings that acquire new information, new knowledge first. This is perfectly normal and natural. We're human beings, and our brains are made for taking in new things, integrating the new into the old. There will likely never be a time when our spiritual journey will be completely free of this kind of mind activity. But over time, if we're progressing, growing, changing, gaining an understanding about ourselves and the world around us, we see the need to move out of our heads a bit, to consciously guide what our minds are taking in, down toward the heart. Some have called this the longest journey we will ever make. What might this look like? We begin the study of a tradition that teaches that God is not outside of us, that there is no old man in the sky who will hear and answer our prayers, that all of creation is infused with spirit, that it is an intelligence, a sentience that fills and surrounds and expresses as everything that exists. This may run counter to all that we have been taught in our younger years. So we contemplate this idea. Seek out authors, teachers, different ways of explaining this concept so that we might better understand. At some point, we're simply going in circles, finding more and more of the same. It is time to use the power of imagination to move what we are thinking down the path that connects the head with the heart. Try it with me now. Think to yourself, God is expressing and experiencing itself as all that is. God is expressing and experiencing itself as all that is. Now imagine slowly moving this thought from your mind, from your head, down your spine, and landing it in your heart. Now guide that feeling down just a little further, landing it in your gut. finally allow that feeling to radiate out into your body, into your arms and legs, your hands and feet. Feel the presence of that truth as a lived experience. These are the beginning steps to embodying truth. Whenever you come across a new concept, start by reflecting or contemplating its meaning, and then use your power of imagination to move it down into your body. The human body is very wise. It is designed to serve as a vehicle for the spirit, but also as a guide for the soul.
It has been said that the spiritual path is only 1 cubit in length, the 18 to 20 inches between our brain and our heart. That we must accept the wisdom teachings both mentally and emotionally. But does it stop there? Does accepting spiritual truth into our heart constitute complete embodiment? Consider what happens when we eat food. Our body distributes the nutrients to every cell of our body. To fully digest spiritual truth, we must do the same. We allow it to penetrate our entire being, not just the heart and the head. We let it infuse all of our life processes, both the conscious and the unconscious, the mental and the physical. Both the Hebrew prophet Ezekiel and John of Patmos were commanded to eat this scroll, to go beyond simply learning the scripture, to fully embody its wisdom, to make it a part of their very being. Full embodiment of divine wisdom infuses all that we are. Heart, mind, body, and soul, infused with spirit. Our autonomic nervous system controls our unconscious, automatic life processes: breathing, digestion, our immune system, the beating of our heart. Good nutrition and exercise keep it healthy. Similarly, we may set an intention for our spiritual practices to nourish us at both the conscious and subconscious levels. As we share our 3 minutes of sacred silence this morning, I invite you to think of a spiritual truth you truly, deeply believe. Imagine it penetrating your autonomic nervous system, automatically flowing throughout your body, every heartbeat pumping love, compassion, and understanding to every cell. Each breath filling you with peace, hope, and inspiration. And allow fear and negativity to dissolve into their native nothingness. Give the divine beloved full access to all of you. Thank you, Creator, for this time of blessed communion with you and with my brothers and sisters in this spiritual family. Thank you for this deeper embodiment of your truth and love. And thank you for all the gifts and blessings of this day and all the gifts and blessings yet to come. May we never forget who and whose we are. The truth is, Spirit is already fully present in every cell of our bodies, in every organ, in every system. We are entirely made of God's stuff. The purpose of our spiritual practice is to realize and then maintain our awareness of that deep truth. As Reverend Diana continues her Taizé inspiration this morning, I receive her wisdom with all that I am, opening the passage between my brain and my body. I embody spiritual truth, and I feel it going out of my head.
Embodied truth. The body is wise and can help guide us to what is true. But there is another level of embodiment. This is when we bring our actions into alignment with what our hearts, our guts, and our bodies tell us is true. Where once we may have reacted in a particular way, we now respond differently, automatically, without thought. Where once we may have learned about what foods are good for the human body, and even which ones are best for us as individuals, we now take those foods in daily as sustenance, nourishment, and are no longer tempted by those that are harmful to us. Again, it has become automatic. There's no longer the need to make a decision. What was once knowledge has become embodied. Where once we had strong feelings about a condition in society, maybe read about the treatment of one group of people or another, even felt compassion for the pain of their plight, we are now spending some of our time and life energy in creating solutions, getting involved at the physical level, doing what we can to remedy the situation. What was once an opinion and the related feelings about a condition has become hands and feet on the ground, making a difference. The process of embodiment looks different for every person because each of us has different gifts to offer, something that is uniquely ours to do, something we are responsible for in the grand scheme. How do we come to know what that is? Introspection, reflection, self-examination. Asking for divine wisdom to show the way. And then watching and listening. The way will become clear. In the Gospel of Thomas, Logion number 3, Yeshua says, "When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known. And if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty." In other words, if we do not pursue the path of self-knowledge, allowing daily tasks, material acquisition, or other circumstances to distract us from the path we were meant to walk and the gifts that we were meant to give, we're missing out on the richness that life has to offer. Modern mystic Andrew Harvey writes that like all authentic mystical teachers, Jesus places the responsibility for the real life squarely on the shoulders of each human being. He does not claim to be the Savior who will initiate everyone into this abundant life. He is the sign that such a life is possible. But the work and sacrifice and passionate search for awakening have to be chosen and undertaken individually by each person. Each person has to will new life and to go on and on choosing it to be transformed. Every grace and divine help will be given, but the choice is always ours, and ours alone. Divine love will not force anyone to enter or realize the kingdom. This is a huge responsibility, a fantastic challenge, an amazing opportunity. I am going out of my head, living from the heart, listening to intuition, and taking action. The choice to study, to learn, and grow is ours. The choice to ask for the heart's guidance is ours. The choice to embody what is true, to take action, to be in service or not, is ours. Every moment offers us choice. What will your next choice be? Join me in prayer. There is ever and always one thing going on, and only one thing. Life unfolding. Spirit giving of themselves as all of creation. Timeless, eternal, and yet moving in, through, and as the cycles and seasons of nature and of our lives. Invisible, taking up no space, and yet everywhere present. Neither intelligent nor sentient, but rather intelligence and sentience in action. There is nothing else. Impossible to understand with my brain. I move this prayer into my heart, into my gut. One life, one presence, one spirit. Only God. I am that. There's nothing else that I can be. Feeling it in my heart, in my gut, I am a perfect and intentional expression of the divine. One with all that is. I choose to give more and more time and attention to the embodiment of this truth. My thoughts are becoming more loving, compassionate, grateful, and kind each day. My words are becoming more gentle, caring, supportive, and true in every moment. And my life is becoming a visible expression of who I am here to be as I reflect more and more of my sacred self into the world. Thank you, Spirit, for this beautiful day. Another opportunity to recognize, feel, and express the beauty and joy of life. Thank you for this spiritual family, for the love and support that I find in this place with these people. Thank you for the constant flow of blessings, whether they look graceful or whether they challenge me to grow in resilience, love, integrity, and faith. It is all here for my good, whether I see the blessing or not. I ask to be shown and listen to guidance, trusting and knowing that as Spirit prays me, inspires me to pray and know that the kingdom is coming to earth, that by means of me, by means of us, we are creating a love-soaked world. And so I rest in deep faith that my prayer is answered even before it is spoken, and trusting that even now our world is changing. So be it. Amen.
Amen.
So it is. Following a moment of silent contemplation, I invite you into musical meditation. Spirit, light a candle on the altar of my heart. Put a holy word upon my lips and tell me where to start. Make my life a gift, a prayer, a living work of art. Spirit, light a candle on the altar of my heart. Pray, take me to that place. Pray, fill me with your grace. Pray, let me see your face. Pray, pray. Raise me up above my thoughts, beyond the right and wrong, where I can hear your still small voice and I can sing along. When that voice is all I hear, I know where I belong. Raise me up above my thoughts, beyond the right and wrong. Pray, take me to that place. Pray, fill me with your grace. Pray, let me see your face. Pray, pray. Pray, take me to that place. Pray, fill me with your grace. Pray, oh, let me see your face. Pray, So coming back into this space in preparation for the celebration of circulation. We offer an opportunity for you this morning to share of your financial good with our community, should you choose to do so. If you're online with us today, you can go to mysticheart.org and you'll find a donate button. You'll also find our mailing address. And we thank you in advance for any gifts that you have to offer, financial or otherwise. We are a thriving community thanks to you. So we're going to do a song for you as that is happening. Speak, Lord. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth your voice. Show me the gifts that are mine. Oh, speak, Lord, and in my heart I rejoice. There's a deep sense of love that wells up in me. Oh, I am a miracle of Spirit divine. May thy will be done through my hands and my feet, through surrender to the one. May my thoughts and actions lead the way to heaven. May thy will be done. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth your voice. Show me the work that is mine. Oh, speak, Lord, and with my hands I rejoice, for my hands are the presence of your grace in action. Oh, I am the vehicle for Spirit divine. May thy will be done through my hands and my feet, through surrender to the one. May my thoughts and actions lead the way to heaven, and may thy will be done. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth your voice. Show me the path that is mine. Oh, speak, Lord, and in my soul I rejoice, for that deep sense of peace that sets my spirit free. My life a humble offering to Spirit divine. May thy will be done through my hands and my feet, through surrender to the one. May my thoughts and actions lead the way to heaven. May thy Thank you so much for these gifts. I know that they are given. They are of source, but they come through your hands and your hearts and your lives. And they move into this community where they are grown and expanded and then given back. So we thank you, Spirit. We thank you, each one. And so it is. Amen. So we're going to leave you with the soul's blessing. And then if you'd like to grab something to drink, you can come on back. We're going to carry this idea out into conversation.
May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony. And may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace. And may God always answer your prayer. May you always embrace compassion and grace. And may God always answer your prayer.
Have a beautiful Sunday. We thank Dalton for being here today. And if you come back, we're doing more music next half.
Pray with me now as we celebrate this wonderful day, coming together in conscious conversation and going out of our heads. I honor the divinity in each one of you here today. I am grateful for this space, for each one of you, for this opportunity to share our wisdom with one another, to learn and relearn and think about things in a different way. So each opinion is valued. And I know each one will hear exactly what they need to hear today so that they can be well and thrive and rest in joy and serenity. I know this prayer is already doing its work. With confidence, I release it into the creative process. I call it done. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Chris, for a beautiful prayer to open our time together this morning. Good morning. And if you are new with us here online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson. I'm the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community. We offer universal principles and practical spirituality. And we trust and know that all of your answers are found in your own mystic heart. We hope that we can help to guide you within yourselves. We're going to begin our conversation this morning with some lively musical prayer. I invite you to sing along, dance along, move along if you'd like.
Welcome to the Mystic Heart. Join the celebration. Lift your voice and sing your part. Make this affirmation. Spirit made us family with loving hearts to share. Together we are joyfully practicing the possible through prayer.
And everything's possible.
So welcome to the Mystic Heart. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are opening, we are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening, 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 we are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one.
Feel the energy shift in here. My goodness. So I invite you to take a creative journey with me, calling upon the full power of both mind and heart, calling on the power of the gut, the intuition, engaging the body. Pull all of yourself into this prayer, joining with one another in the imaginal realm, in service to the creation of a love-soaked world. See and feel with me now a world in which all inhabitants of this planet live from our highest potential. Kindness, generosity, compassion, peace, integrity, cooperation. In this new world, all people honor and care for one another. For all of the life forms that share this beautiful planet with us, and for the Sacred Mother herself, the one that sustains us all. We remember that we're connected to all of life, that we are dependent on the planet to sustain us, and on one another for support and belonging. By aligning our every thought, word, and action with our vision, we're creating a world in which all people are well fed, have the safety and comfort of home, and a deep sense of peace and purpose and belonging. A world in which health, education, and healthy relationships are supported by social systems that are grounded in integrity, compassion, and wholeness.
Yes.
Valuing every being for its uniqueness, we practice living truly authentic lives where vulnerability is not only welcomed, it is celebrated. There is no need to defend or protect. The work we're doing within ourselves shows up as a world free of hatred and violence.
Yes.
We recognize the abundance that surrounds us. Greed is a thing of the past, as generosity flows freely in every direction, and all beings gratefully receive all that is needed to live physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually fulfilling lives. The planet and its beings thrive like never before as we learn to recognize the sacred in everything and everyone. And we walk in reverence and gratitude for all that we have been gifted. We maintain this vision day by day, moment by moment. Personally, we align our actions with our vision, living these changes first in our own lives, with our families, our friends, and our neighbors. And one neighborhood, one community at a time, a new world is being born. In this process of profound change, this beloved community stands as an open and welcoming place for all who seek support, belonging, and a sense of family. By the power of our deep faith and inspired action, this prayer is acted upon, answered even as it is spoken, and Spirit knows our heart's desire and intent. We don't have to share that. In full expectation of its graceful unfolding, we release our prayer to the creative power and intelligence that I call God. We release it to the one that gets it done, and so it is. Amen. Welcome, everyone. Bring our awareness back into the space. Peek around to see who moved in during the prayer time and the music time. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, Lori. Good to have you here. Yay. So our theme this month is New Beginnings, and the topic of conversation this morning has been going out of my head. Yeah. So this morning during Taizé, we spent time reflecting on how the conscious spiritual journey often begins with something that we've read or heard someone speak. In other words, it's something we take in through our brains first that maybe doesn't line up with what we were raised with, or doesn't line up with something we're currently practicing or feeling, but it starts in the head. And even if we've had some kind of mystical awakening as our first experience, then we often take that into our head and try to figure it out. What was that just happened? And then there it goes, right into the head again. Then at some point in the journey, it's no longer enough. We feel like maybe everywhere we look, we're reading something different, we're hearing something different, but it's not really different. It's really the same thing in new words, and we're starting to kind of go in circles and get stuck in our heads. We start to have this longing to not only know about spiritual truth, but to know spiritual truth, to experience it. Not just to know about a higher power, but to know personally a higher power. And so there's this time period where we're looking to more fully embody everything that we've taken in up here along the way. So we did a short practice this morning, and I'm going to bring it back in here because we did the practice and just held it in contemplation, and I'd like to have a conversation following it, if that's okay. So I'm going to invite you to relax into your chair. Maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a nice deep breath in. Hold it for just a moment. And then let it go, relaxing the body, relaxing the jaw. Another cycle of breath, breathing in. Completely relaxing and allowing your chair to take your full weight. Now hold this thought in your mind. God is expressing and experiencing itself as all that is. I am an expression of God. God is experiencing and expressing itself in all that is. I am an expression of God. Stay with that thought for a moment. Take note of how that feels. And now imagine slowly moving this thought from the top of your head, or the mind where it's going through, down your spine, down past your shoulders, and down, landing it down into your heart. God is expressing and experiencing itself as all that I am. I am an expression of God. Now guide that feeling down just a little bit further into what you would call your gut. Landing it in the gut. God is expressing and experiencing itself as all that is. I am an expression of God. Finally, allow that feeling to radiate out from the center of your body, from your core, out into the body, into the arms and the legs, out into the hands and the feet. Feel the presence of that truth as a lived experience. This is a practice that can move you in the direction of embodiment. So as you feel ready, go ahead and let your eyes come open. Anyone care to share that experience? Anything about that experience?
I always start out feeling a little like an imposter, but the more I practice it, the quicker I can relax out of that. And you know, it's like I kind of argue with myself, I guess. Well, what else could I be if God's all there is?
Okay, so it sounds like you stay in your head if you're arguing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've talked my head into letting me get out of my head.
Okay. So you have to talk your head into letting you go out of your head. It tries to keep you there. Anything else you want to share? Anybody? Michael?
I get a feeling of empowerment.
Okay, feeling of empowerment.
Yeah, that, wow, maybe I'm a lot more than I think I am.
Mhm. Maybe I'm a lot more than I think I am. Okay, thank you. Amanda?
I felt like it needed to, like the feeling of, I guess, divinity needed to go all the way through my body.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt a little bit like, why do I have a headache and feel divine? Like, where is that headache? Why is that there? Or,
Uh-huh.
and then I just felt like I needed to kind of like sit with it longer and like
Uh-huh.
do it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's like my body has a craving for that.
Yes. So there, now you have something for your week to,
Yeah.
to take home. Nice. Yeah, so she felt like she needed to move it all the way through the body and needed more time to work with it. Anything else that wants to be shared?
Yeah, I'll comment. I guess I had a kind of a aha moment as I'm realizing that spirit and oxygen can be very similar. I'm breathing this invisible substance into every cell of my body, and it is essentially, each little cell has a little touch of oxygen or a touch of spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know as simple a concept as that is, I never really thought of it as permeating my entire body
Mm-hmm.
in the moment and sort of washing through me at
Yeah.
all times.
Yeah. So the Latin word spiritu means both spirit and breath.
And wind.
And wind. So you can think of just like air or oxygen permeates every aspect of your being, so is that spirit mixed in there. It's one and the same. Oh.
I'm also reminded of light, that
Uh-huh.
that spirit is light, enlightenment, and all of the light that we can't live without in our lives is a reminder of, yes, that's who we are. We are the light.
We are light, yes. So feeling and experiencing and expressing the presence of spirit in and through the physical body is one form of embodiment. And we can have practices that invite that embodiment of truth by practicing mantra, by practicing prayer, and moving that down out of the head and into the heart and into the body. What other kinds of things might you guys already do to bring truth to embodiment? Do you have any other practices that you use? Just curious.
Sometimes I'll light incense when I meditate.
Okay.
And there's something about the sense of smell
Mm-hmm.
and the emotions, because they live in the same place in the brain.
Right.
It triggers, helps trigger that heart acceptance, that body acceptance.
Okay, so some scent, whether it's an incense or an oil, an essential oil, something that you might associate, have memory. Yes?
Movement in the form of either walking or practicing yogic poses,
Uh-huh.
so that I am in touch with that breath, and how, as I breathe, I can allow muscles to open and expand and accept.
Great. So sacred movement, powerful prayer. David?
Well, an old practice that I first discovered when I was looking for awareness was using drugs to facilitate going out of my head. But then I was listening to a Jefferson Airplane song called White Rabbit, and it was talking about feed your head. And I think I got stuck there for a long time,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, look it, I'm out of my body, it's out
Right.
of body experience, but I was stuck in my head.
Uh-huh.
Might not have been aware of the rest of the body, but not releasing that. And now, today is the awakening of, or self-realization that, oh, there's many paths to reach that. And really, you want to, as one of my gurus says, you know, you're not your body and you're not your mind. And there's something way more going on
Right.
than that. So I
And
think,
yet on this physical plane, we've got to deal with that body and deal with that mind. But that's not all
right,
who you
but
are.
when you're going within to see what
Right.
you are,
Yeah.
you realize you're much more than
Right.
that.
Yeah, much more than that.
Yes.
So there was another kind of embodiment that we talked about this morning in Taizé. If you were here, do you remember what that kind of embodiment was? How I described that kind of embodiment? Good, I'm glad I decided to do this again. So when we bring our actions in the world into alignment with the spiritual principles and truths that we know about and that we feel are true, but then we don't stop with the knowing and the feeling, because that isn't what's going to change this world to the love-soaked world. It takes the actions, our hands, our feet, our hearts, our voices. So that's a form of embodiment. So where once we might have reacted in a particular way to something that happens, through our work and our prayer, our meditation, our desire to change, we now have a different response, and it's automatic. We don't have to think about it anymore. We don't have to try to not do this and instead do that. It's not embodiment until it's automatic. It's how we now are. We've become changed. So does anybody have an example of such a, like that sort of a change in your life? Okay, start with you. I try to start over here first. Hand goes up.
Yesterday was a great example. We set up the Pride booth, and then a couple of us went off to collect food for the Good News Rescue Mission. So we're feeding the people that are at the mission, and we're also supporting our LGBTQ siblings in their quest for equal rights and equal
Okay.
justice.
So I'm going to push you deeper,
Okay.
taking that example. What is it in you that is different than perhaps it once was, that brings you into a day where that's what your day looks like?
I notice these things have become more important to me
Okay.
as I've
Sage.
evolved. Whether or not there's evidence of that, I have evolved.
Sorry.
This week was both my birthday and our anniversary, and on my birthday we attended a meeting to support the micro shelter project over at St. James Lutheran Church, and then the Pride Festival fell on our anniversary, and it seemed like, for the first time, it seemed like that was an appropriate way to spend those special days.
Yeah. All right. Nice example. Another example, David? Thank you.
Well, one example, or one follow that I thought really embodied that was Mahatma Gandhi saying, be the change that you wish
Right.
to see. Not support it, not,
Talk about it.
yeah, not,
Yeah.
but once you are it,
Right.
then you're in touch with it.
Yeah. So in what ways are some of us being the change? and in ways ideally that have become automatic to us now.
How about not taking things personally?
Not taking things personally. When we get to the point where actually someone can blow up in our face and we go, they're having a rough day. And then just go on about, yeah, that's a big shift in your being. Yeah, Mark?
I am becoming more and more aware of the ability to choose the quality of my moment. It is a kind of a choice, and in part and parcel of that, I am choosing to use my eyes to look around and choose to see beauty and let it kind of wash over me and see what it does for me instead of choosing to see ugliness. It is a choice.
It is a choice.
And there's nothing, it is a little indulgent perhaps, but once you do it, I like to see flowers, for example, and even the tiniest little flower on a weed is joyful for me to see. It's doing its best to live and propagate, and I appreciate its efforts. And so that choice of seeing beauty, in a way, David, it is sort of feeding your head, to make those choices. And I think I got to be better for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So automatically now seeing the gift, seeing the beauty, seeing the good, instead of automatically seeing what's wrong. That's a huge shift if you can go from one to the other.
One of the things, when I see something and I'm go toward judgment, which I really work on now, I always go back to myself and say, what is it about you, in you, in myself, that connected with that? Then I shift it and start seeing the good.
Right. Yeah, when you automatically begin to start self-reflecting, something happens and you go right to, wow, what was that in me? Not that it's all me, but I'm involved. How am I involved? Yeah.
So for me, I think it's the willingness to learn. So for gardening, as an example, I learned, I wanted it to be easy. Some dirt, couple seeds, water, that's it. Boom. I never got anything from that. But the willingness to learn the process, it's pretty amazing to me because, I have worms in my pots and manure and everything that I learned over. And I have composted for a year, and so I have all this good stuff. I even have a garden in my storage room that I water and feed eggs to. And so just all this willingness that I've learned here over like the last, really a couple of years, like just the willingness to learn about the new foods to eat that's good for your gut that I never thought about before. That willingness to learn and incorporate.
Right. Yeah. So will is interesting. There's willful and there's willing. And when we can move from a willful, I already know, to a willing, teach me more. That's a huge attitude shift when you move from one to the other. Yeah, nice. What came up for me first was just briefly, I was a very fearful child. As a child, I was very fearful. And somehow, through the process of my life, I can think of very few things that make me fearful at this point. I hear people talking about, worrying about this or that or whatever, and I think, it never occurred to me to fear that or fear this. But that's not how I've always been, at all. So how that shift happened, that's grace as far as I'm concerned. And you know, the process of all the study and meditation and prayer and all of that. But that's a shift that, like, at the essence of being, you know, from fearful to feeling relatively fearless. So, do you think that that just happens? Those processes just happen? You think we have to actively engage somehow?
I think we're growing up.
Okay, we're growing up. Yes.
That's where I see it. We're
Yeah,
growing
mentally,
up.
emotionally, spiritually, in addition to saging
Yes.
into our wiser years. Yeah. So, oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
I've got the glare behind.
That's my head.
Sorry, no, it's behind you.
Oh, well,
Turn on the lights.
No, it's his halo.
that's my halo.
That's right.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh. Oh, no.
No, it's a kind of to answer one question, yes, things just happen,
Okay.
all right? So you have to be a little bit aware.
Mhm.
There's this thing called synchronicity that says when those kinds of things happen, it's because you're headed in the right direction.
Right.
And it's
Okay.
just another clue to keep heading in that direction,
Mhm.
right? And it's difficult. But it does take a lot of effort, right? You have to shift from your role, your process, as you've described it, has been the meditation, the study, getting involved in Mystic Hearts, the center, and you know, all the stuff that leads to who you are right now. I read something the other day, just the word salvation. Your salvation is simply understanding your unification with all that is.
Okay.
That is where, when you can make that shift from acting because you know that, to acting because you're not acting, you're just being that.
Right.
So that's where your real salvation is, as David would phrase it, you get out of your head,
Yeah.
and it just comes from your heart.
Right.
Right, so that's a totally, I wish I knew how to do that.
Stick around.
We all
We're gonna work on that.
Keep coming back.
So one of the things I've been seeing a lot on my feed, you know, Instagram feed and stuff, is about comfort.
Uh-huh.
And how that's kind of like sort of detrimental to us because we look for comfort all the time.
Uh-huh.
And then I started thinking about that, and it's true, for me anyway.
Mhm.
And so I've been trying to push myself to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And I don't want to. I'm up, I'm awake, but I don't want to get up. But some days I can really push myself out, but I'm tired, so I look for comfort and drink some tea, whatever. But, you know, that's, you know, a good shift for me to, you know, not always look for comfort, push yourself physically.
Yeah.
Get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, get out and do the
Right.
things you need to do outside, make everything look beautiful out there, you know, get your house done before you're tired, start cooking early in the morning, you know, not just sit in comfort until you have to do it, you know,
Right.
and then you're really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, so that's for me, a good mind shift.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable with discomfort until discomfort is no longer uncomfortable. Right?
That was succinct.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, right.
Becoming comfortable with discomfort, and as you move into getting comfortable with discomfort, eventually the discomfort doesn't feel uncomfortable anymore because you're used to that. So it no longer is a problem to get out of bed at 5 if you do it anyway, do it anyway, do it anyway. You know, 20 days down the road,
20
you're gonna-
days down the
you
road,
know,
it's a habit. You do
right,
it
you're gonna
without
get
thinking.
up and it's not gonna feel uncomfortable anymore. Mark?
Isn't there a saying, something to the effect of you don't grow in your comfort zone?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not saying it's just right, but it gives you
Right.
food for thought there.
Yeah,
That if everything is too comfortable, you know, I don't have to change. I
Right.
just be the same all the time.
right. And the nature of life is change. Whether we like it or not, every cell of our body, everything, everywhere you look is changing constantly. It's the only thing we can count on absolutely is change. Everything is always changing. So getting comfortable with that is important, to acknowledge it. So this process of embodying changes or growth looks different for every person. Embodiment of what's ours to do in the world it's all different for each of us, because we're all unique beings. We all have different gifts to offer in the world. We all have something that is uniquely ours that nobody else can bring. Something we're responsible for in the grand scheme of things. Uh-oh. There's that word.
The R word.
Responsible. Uh-oh. Is it our responsibility to offer our gifts to the world? What do you think about that idea?
Why else would we have them?
Why else would we have them?
Love, serve, and remember.
Love, serve, and remember. Yes.
You know, it kind of reminds me, if you were to look at that, something you said in the other service, if you called weaving a tapestry, well, if you think of it as a jigsaw puzzle,
Mhm.
okay, so you have a part, you have a part, you have a part, we all have a part,
Right.
or two or three, whatever, depending on the size of the puzzle. And you put it together, you watch how all of you have to interact to put this puzzle together, and each of your part matters. And sometimes somebody else's part has to be in place before you will see your fit.
Right.
So I can see it as instead of a tapestry, I see it as a puzzle.
Uh-huh.
And
Nice metaphor.
you can create, it shows the importance, and if you don't show up, that puzzle picture won't be complete.
Right. So if we say no, if we come to know we have a gift to offer in the world and we're just more comfortable not stepping out because maybe we're shy, or maybe we don't know what that would look like, or we don't know how to do it. We think we don't know, you know. If we say no, what's the outcome?
Puzzle doesn't get filled.
Puzzle doesn't get filled. There's an incompleteness about things,
Missing link.
a missing link.
And
So
we-
what's,
And we don't get the fulfillment of expressing who we are.
okay, and we don't get the fulfillment of expressing the gifts God gave us to offer, the fullness of who we are. Mark?
Thank you for mentioning that you were fearful as a child, because a lot of us see you as a leader and above all of that, but you've learned not to be fearful. And
Please don't put me above
There's the
anything.
pedestal.
I don't want to be above anything.
well, it's admirable, and it makes me think that some people, well, we're brought up to feel fearful, right? We learn that, and we think
Right.
we're taking care of ourselves by being extra careful and controlling, and that's kind of what fear is all about. It steps in to
Right.
help you to realize I'm controlling this, and sometimes we make a bigger deal out of the need to control, to the point where we look at crises, and we even create crises in our lives
Yeah.
in order to have something to feel,
Right.
you know, that is different than love. If we're not capable of feeling love in general, it's easier to feel weakness. And then from that, all the problems, and from that, oh, suddenly there's a crisis that I have to deal with, and it helps me to concentrate,
Right.
but it
Gives me
isn't
something-
good for me.
Yeah, gives me something to be in control of, or at least you think so. I mean, you're never really in control
And
of
that
anything.
can kill you
None of us are.
eventually.
Yeah,
Ryan.
oh, yeah.
It really,
Yeah.
I have noticed rock stars who have been extremely careful and successful in their lives seem to create situations where they have to control so much, and they end up losing their lives
Right.
because of this extreme desire to control everything. And it makes me wonder, if I were a successful rock star, why can't I just enjoy where I've gotten
Right.
instead of trying to force something? Why not just let it be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Said he wrote a song about that.
I know.
Oh, okay.
So what you said was about finding your gifts in the world, and it's a
Right.
responsibility to give your gifts.
Uh-huh.
So, sometimes you don't know what they are for a
Thank
very,
you.
very, very long time.
Yes,
And
thank
when I
you.
think about myself, I remember there's a song that you're very familiar with, and it goes, "How can anybody ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than whole?" And then it goes on. But in my younger life, in my experiences, I feel like I got told that. Maybe not directly, but so kind of covering up,
Right.
protecting myself,
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
who I was, not being accepted for who I was.
Right.
Too loud, too quiet, too boisterous,
Mhm.
too skinny, too fat, dress up too much. Too something,
Right.
And then as you get older, you kind of withdraw yourself,
Yeah.
and now I feel like, I can show what my gifts are. They're not the ones that you have,
Right.
or a lot of people here. Mine are very different,
Right.
and I found that I can share my gifts when I got in touch with what I enjoy,
Right.
just what I enjoy in my life.
So that's perfect. My next question said, how do you come to know what your unique gifts are? So your one way is to look at what brings me joy. If it brings me intense joy, and it isn't hurting another person, of course, or anything, then that might be a pointer toward maybe this is one of your gifts. What else tells you?
What nourishes you? What
Okay.
inspires you to grow?
What inspires you to grow? What nourishes you, leaving you feeling like you've been nourished by doing whatever it is, instead of used up.
And I feel like we can tell people, like when we see them, "Oh, I noticed this about you,
Yes.
and you seem to enjoy it, and
Yes.
good for you." Whereas I know experience in my life, I used to like to change my hair color a lot. And
Mhm.
people would say, "Oh, when I was depressed, or when I was this way, I like to cut my hair, or I like to change the color." And I was like, "Well, I went to beauty college, so that's why I learned it,
Right.
and that's why I like to do it, when
Yeah.
I was younger."
Yeah.
And so, but I thought, wow, how judgmental
Right.
of somebody to tell me
Yeah.
that I was wrong because I like to cut my hair short, or I like to dye it, or I like to be different, or
Yeah.
experiment. I mean,
Or think you were depressed because you did it.
yeah,
Right, yeah.
That's,
So it's like if
Yeah.
we can like say, "Hey, I see something unusual or different about you,
Right.
and you did this to celebrate yourself."
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like going back with the pride thing.
Mhm.
It's like how it evolved
Right.
to me. So, like there,
Yeah.
one day it just showed up,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, that's great. You're celebrating yourself.
Right.
I think that's a great word, celebrating yourself.
Celebrating yourself. Gary.
A couple things. It always strikes me about when we talk about gifts, that we tend to kind of make it about me, but I think it usually tends to be about the whole,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's not really ours as much as it is, it's not mine as much as it is ours.
Mm-hmm.
And so that gives you kind of a more of a sense of sharing rather than keeping it to yourself.
Uh-huh.
And then the other thing is that I think that it's important when you think about gifts that it's kind of more positive, for lack of a better word. I mean, it's kind of like it's contributing
Right.
versus taking away.
Yeah.
I had a pastor who used to say, there isn't a, talking about the Bible, there isn't a gift, people come to me and say they have the gift of confrontation. That's not one of the gifts.
That's not a gift. No, that does not contribute
So
any.
it's, I mean, yes, confrontation is a part of life, but
Right.
there's a way you can do it that is contributing rather than
Yeah.
breaking down, so. But
Oh, boy. Yeah, thank you. It's true, these gifts, we do tend to think of, this is my gift. I even spoke it that way, but they really aren't ours. Nothing is really ours alone. If we're one, literally one in God, then nothing, even our very thoughts. I remember Lucinda's the first time I said something in a class when she said, I love my privacy. I said, there's no such thing as privacy. What are you talking about? She flipped out. Are you listening at home, Lucinda?
So does that mean she was out of her head?
She was out of her head. Yeah.
Flip.
So I want to close by sharing a passage that I shared in Taizé as well, from the Gospel of Thomas. I've been reading a book by Andrew Harvey. Has anyone here read any Andrew Harvey?
What's the name?
Andrew
Yeah.
Harvey.
Andrew Harvey.
He's the author.
The book is called Son of Man, and it's a story of the Christ path. It's the telling the description of the life of the historical Jesus, as far as scholars know it, like up to date, and then moving into the actual Christ path and what does that mean, and how does one follow that path. It's an excellent book. But he talks about this passage from the Gospel of Thomas. It's Logion 3. Yeshua says, when you come to know yourselves, then you will become known. And if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. It is you who are that poverty. In other words, if we don't pursue the path of self-knowledge and spiritual connection, allowing our daily tasks and material acquisition and all circumstances and conditions and relationships to distract us from our higher work, then we're missing out on the richness of life. We're missing out on the grace that is always present. It's not that the grace goes away, it's that we're not aware of it. So listen carefully to this commentary from Andrew Harvey, and then we'll have a chance to talk about it if you'd like to. He writes that, like all authentic mystical teachers, Jesus places the responsibility for the real life squarely on the shoulders of each human being. He does not claim to be the Savior who will initiate everyone into this abundant life. He is the sign that such a life is possible, but the work and sacrifice and passionate search for awakening have to be chosen and undertaken individually by each person. Each person has to will new life and to go on and on choosing it in order to be transformed. Every grace and divine help will be given, but the choice is always ours and ours alone. Divine love will not force anyone to enter or realize the kingdom. How do you feel listening to that passage? What comes up?
It reminds me of Joseph Campbell,
Okay.
quite frankly.
Mhm.
Follow your bliss, and you have no idea what doors will open to you.
Okay.
Right. So your bliss is a way you can share your gift as well.
Right.
Right. Because if you're really passionate about something, your music, your art, your sports, whatever it is, there's a path through whatever that is to what I referred to earlier, salvation, which is your ability to join the whole, right? Because that's really what the path is. There's as many paths as there are human beings and beyond.
Right.
There is no way, right? You're right. Jesus Christ, the way I think about it, is Christianity is somebody's hijacking of what he was trying to show the world, right? I know the way, follow me,
Right.
come to my church. No, no disrespect intended here, because you have a totally different message.
Because I don't say that.
Right, you have a totally,
Right.
but I want to be clear about that,
Yeah.
but you know, there's a totally different message.
Right.
And what Mark was talking about earlier, it's like, yes, it's reflected in the culture.
Mhm.
You put the responsibility for, when I say self-knowledge, it's with a capital S, it's not with your ego, right? But that energy proceeds from the collective to the culture, right? From the individual little groups like this little group radiates out, ripples into the world. Somebody else somewhere gets touched by that. They have an experience, maybe they share that, and it ripples, right? What we're going through culturally right now, politically, is, kind of like taking the scab off the wound.
Yeah.
And the healing has to come from that.
Right.
But you don't go through that. You
Right.
don't transition from one thing to another simply because, I think about that, so it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, that's really what does happen, because you think about it, but it gets expressed in your being, in your acts, and those are the things that ripple throughout the culture. Right. There's a huge cultural change coming.
Oh, yeah.
Has been since 2012.
Yeah. Yep. We're in for big changes.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, I thought, learn the spiritual laws of life and do your best to embody them so you can live in this world
Yeah.
with integrity.
Yes. So do your very best, and it can start, often does start by learning, using the mind and then the heart, but then the hands and the feet have to kick in at some point.
I wonder, I was raised Catholic, and so I'm wondering if I didn't learn about the Ten Commandments ever in my life. I wonder how I would know that I shouldn't do certain things
Yeah.
if nobody taught me, if I didn't learn, started there and then expanded on.
Yeah, I don't know, I believe it's hard to know,
Yeah.
because we do learn by being taught and modeling, although very, very young children kind of have a tendency toward goodness, fairness, sharing, empathy, compassion. A little toddler sees another toddler crying and they go to help. So I think we learn a lot of things, some of them positive and some of them maybe we learn that we shouldn't be those ways that we are naturally.
Maybe there's that goodness, but culture, family,
Right.
education either tends to support that goodness or model the other. So it would actually cover the goodness. It would not let it thrive
Right.
because of the way
Yeah.
behaviors that they're exposed to and the experiences that they have seem to cover it.
Yes, this author, this teacher in this book really zeroes in on, first of all, he says, I am not a Christian mystic. I'm a mystic that follows the Christ path, because of how Christian has been hijacked, has been taken to mean a lot of things that don't come from the actual teachings of Jesus. And so he really zeroes in on this message of service, that Jesus was all about service, action. Yes, he used words, he used parables and teachings, but mostly he just walked the talk. He did the work. He was in service to other beings all the time. And that's what this particular teacher feels that the life of Jesus or the Christ path is about. It's being that grace in action. It's being the compassion and the service and that that's what we're here for.
Exemplifying the divinity.
Yes, exemplifying the divinity that Jesus brought, and that great masters of all traditions, mystics of all traditions have brought.
But it has to happen in community because you have to interact with other people's
Right.
personalities so that
Yes.
you have the opportunity to either be compassionate or not, or contribute or not,
Mhm.
or, so it's always going to be done in community.
Right.
Interactions with other people.
Yeah. So anything else that wants to be shared around that passage before we wrap up
This over
with
here.
prayer?
I was just thinking that if we hold back our gifts, we're actually retarding the evolution of the human race. You know, and if we're ever going to get through this
shift,
it's going to take all of us, given all that we have.
Yeah.
And and if we're afraid, if we're fearful, we just have to do it. Courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. It
No.
means you
Means you're
do it
afraid.
scared.
Right, yeah, you do it scared. Feel the fear, do it anyway. David?
Well, I also understand the physical part of embodying what you believe, but also on another level, it's beyond the physical, and you can walk into a room and change the energy of the whole room
You
by
can.
the energy you carry.
You can,
And
yes.
that's embodiment as well.
It is. And I just have to bring, because I'm really, this teacher's got me going right now, so I just have to share one more thing he said. This morning I was listening to a presentation of the book. And he said that we can get caught up right now in this time in our world with all that's going on and all the shifts that are happening. We can get caught up in thinking that if I sit and I meditate and I pray and I shift the energy, that that's enough. And his view is it's all good to do, and we can shift the energy in a room or in a space or with our energy. But that's just one step along the way, that it's gotta come through our action. We can't stop short of being in service. We can't stop short of physically making the changes because we live in a material world as material beings. And we do know there are higher truths, there are absolute truths. But we have to live in alignment with the material truths as well. That, we don't, at least in my stage of development, I'm not going to jump off that roof. Maybe there are masters that would fly off, but I would hit the ground. So I have to respect.
Reprogramming yourself now, are you?
I have fallen a couple times in the last year, so as a self-check, I think gravity is still working on me. So I'm just not going to take the chance yet of jumping off the roof. So we have to respect the material realm that we live in. We're created to be material beings as well as divine beings. And we need to respect all of the pieces, the whole of what we are. Is that a hand up or a straight?
Well, I liked what Chris said when he spoke of the word retard, because that's gotten a bad rap, hasn't it? Kids are retarded. No, kids, tiny kids have this divinity that they express. They're not afraid. And so the word socialization seems like can be a retarding effect on us. And so we have to kind of counteract, now that we're more enlightened, we have to counteract that socialization that wants to shut you down. I don't know what I'm saying really, but the word socialization, that's what we all go through whether we know it or not. And it's time to sort of reverse the retarding effects of socialization in favor of what we all need, by example.
And we're still socialized. Well, I mean, it's not just when we're children that we're socialized. We're being socialized daily, and so we can choose the environments that we put ourselves in so that the socialization we're getting is from a different vantage point, a different group of people, people with like minds that think in similar ways that we do and have similar goals for their lives. I'm going to wrap us. Oh, okay, one more thing. I'm going to wrap us up. I am.
Well, I recently have seen an issue with that, being that like on social media.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't understand is what you put in is what you get out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a algorithm
Right.
that says, oh, I like this, so you get shown everything that agrees with your
Right.
thoughts. And I think that's a unhealthy way to look at life, because you know what, there's all kinds of views, there's all kinds of people, there's all kinds of races, but to only lock on, well, I'm a Christian nationalist and that's the way this government should go, is unhealthy. And I think when you're waking up, you realize that everything has a purpose, and
Right.
it's not just a one-sided, everything I think is right.
Right.
You know.
So that's actually, though, a really good metaphor. If you think about, you put one thing into the computer and a whole bunch of that comes back at you. That's what's happening in life too, right? You're putting something out and a whole bunch of that's going to come back to you. So it's kind of mimicking what happens in life.
Does that mean the universe is responding to you?
The universe is a responsive energy or force or whatever you want to call it. So join me in prayer. We love our conversations. They're just amazing. I say thank you, Spirit, this day, for this time together with spiritual family, for the wisdom in this space, for the willingness that each one brings into this space to grow and to listen deeply. We may have our right and perfect path in place individually, and we may be happily following and growing along that path, and that is beautiful. And having hearts and minds and ears that are open to understanding that others have a different way. This is part of the gift of this community. I'm so grateful each and every day to have the freedom to create a space where all people are welcome, to a space where people are open and receptive and curious enough to bring the best of themselves into the space and to be open to what others have to share. Thank you, Spirit, for so many blessings. Each one of us, I would guess, woke up in a comfortable bed this morning. Maybe had a hot shower, something warm to drink. Each one of us had the means to bring ourselves here. The simple things that we take for granted, all of this is gift. It doesn't belong to us. This whole event that we call life on our planet is the presence of God expressing itself, creating. It's all one thing going on. So I'm grateful to be a part of it and aware that I'm part of it. I'm grateful for each one here and the way we can come together to share our hearts and minds. And I just release this prayer now, knowing that it has created an open space to move into food and fellowship this afternoon. I give thanks for the food that is brought each week, for the nourishment that it brings to our bodies, just as this time with family brings nourishment to our souls. And I just allow the rest of our time together to unfold with grace, saying, thank you, God. As together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you for the great conversation. Yay. So much fun. So we're going to move now to our time of offering. I invite you to share of your financial gift, should you choose to, with our community. We are in the midst of a building renovation and a move to a little bigger space that is one large unit. It's going well. We have the architect finalizing some drawings in this next week, and then we'll get that to the city, get our permits, then we start knocking down walls. Yay. So we did really well with the sale in support of that. Yesterday I had a check handed to me. Don't need to know who handed it to me. They don't want anybody to know. But it was a $1,500 check to be put into our building fund. So thank you, God, the gifts coming through the hands and hearts. And so we're now over $8,000 in our building fund. So we're getting it way faster than we're spending it at this point, which is good news. So thank you all for your support. Oh, I guess I need my guitar for this one. So this song, we don't get a chance too often to play we just haven't brought them forward in a while to play our original music, but this time everything that we've offered this morning is original music. Turn off the microphone. This song, listen carefully to the words because it talks. Are my capoed on this or no? Okay. This song invites us to pay close attention to the quality of the questions that we ask, both internally and externally, because it tends to be the quality of the questions tends to determine what we get back, right? So just listen to these words and see what you think. I went to the master and I asked him a question. Why can't I ever find my way? Why has my life led me to sadness and confusion? And this is what I swear I heard the master say. Be careful of the questions you're asking. An undirected mind can carry you away from the harmony and wisdom you're seeking. So open to the light, seek only the light. Know you are the light and we will always find your way. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Seek and you shall find. Ask and the answer shall be given unto you. For it's already present in the mind of God. It's already present in mine. I went to the master and I asked him a question. Why have we come to this place? What is the purpose to this life that we've been given? I saw a knowing smile light up the master's face. Listen to the questions you're asking. A clear and focused mind can take you deep within to the answers you're constantly seeking. So open to the light, seek only the light. Know you are the light and you will always find your way. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Seek and you shall find. Ask and the answer shall be given unto you. For it's already present in the mind of God. It's already present in mine. You notice the first question? Why can't I ever find my way? Why is my life such a mess? That's not a very useful question. Second one, why have we come here? A little better quality. Third question, here we go. I went to the master and I asked him a question. How do I daily know your grace? How do I see your light in everything around me? Just then I saw the joyful tears run down his face. You're showing conscious thought in what you're asking. You've come to know that heaven is the peace within. So claim and know the power you've been given. And open to the light. Seek only the light. Know you are the light and you will always find your way. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Seek and you shall find. Ask and the answer shall be given unto you. For it's already present in the mind of God. It's already present in the mind of God. It's already present in mine. We're actually going to do a second song today. Because of this building project, people keep asking me, when are we tearing the walls out?
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet? When are we going to the city? When? So we're going to do a song to answer that question. Are we capable?
Yes.
At 2?
By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion.
But away it
Carried us away, captivity required from us a song. How can we sing King Alpha's song in a strange land?
So let the
Words of our mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O far right. It'll happen in its own sweet time. You can't rush a thing this sublime, and all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time. Every miracle, every now and then I find myself thinking that I ought to know better by now. Should have seen this coming a mile away. Thought I knew the way things work, but I must have forgotten somehow. What's a trick to making the wisdom stay? It'll happen in its own sweet time. You can't rush a thing this sublime, and all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time. Everywhere I go, people try to tell me that it's dog eat dog out there. It's a rat race, get while the getting's good. But rats don't race, dogs don't eat dogs, and the world has plenty to share. We could make it happen if we just would. It'll happen in its own sweet time. Can't rush a thing this sublime, and all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time. Oh yeah, it'll happen in its own sweet time. You can't rush a thing this sublime, and all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time. It'll happen. It's just a head start. Ain't nothing gonna change till you do your part. Well, listen for spirit, soon you will hear it say. It's all perfect. It'll happen in its own sweet time. You can't rush a thing this sublime, and all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time. Here we go. It'll happen in its own sweet time. You can't rush a thing this sublime, and don't you know all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time. Oh yeah, it'll happen in its own sweet time. You can't rush a thing this sublime, and don't you know all your worries ain't worth a dime, 'cause it'll happen in its own sweet time.
That's my answer.
Near to us is our breath every moment, wherever we are. I am grateful for your contributions in terms of financial good, time, talent, treasure, knowledge, and all of it, because that's what makes this community great. You can count on us to commit good stewardship of your money and your time and your treasure to serve the love-soaked world. And so it is.
So it is.
All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. A whole new life for you and me. Take your past and set it free, and share this blessing. Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, may good flow to you, let joy renew you until we meet again. Love be with you.